boy wonder.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mastermind Network podcast. My name is Nick Bifano, alongside my good friend Gavin Petrea. We started this podcast a few months ago, and
it's been a wild ride.
It's been a great ride, though. We need your help, though. If you guys have enjoyed the content that we've been putting out, if you are coming back to watch episode 3 now, would you please share this with your friends, share this with your coworkers, anyone you think who could benefit from just sharing life and sharing business tips together.
Yeah, we just want to help.
Absolutely, we want to help. So, we're coming at you again today, this week, with some fresh content. Here's the thing.
Hang on, in a new location.
I didn't talk about that. Why don't you tell us about where we're at today?
We are in Nick Bifano's new basement in the great city of, is it city or town?
No,
Alton, Illinois, anyway. The place where Nick's heart really is. So he is officially in Alton. He's excited about it. He's officially really kind of encapsulated this Alton personality, I guess.
I'm very excited about the opportunities and business and things that are happening in my city now, and excited to jump in and be a part of it. So I
hate that I'm liking it, but I like it.
If you want to sit down and talk more about all the things that Alton has to offer, hey, I'm open for coffee. I'm open for anything. I'll take you out to lunch.
I'm sure there's a great coffee spot in Edwardsville, actually, if you guys want.
If you want to hit Gavin up, you can come go check.
Alton's great. I do love Alton.
No, it is.
I'm definitely turning into a fan. So,
but this is kind of also the reason why we wanted to start this podcast as well, is that we truly do love the areas that we live.
Yeah.
The areas that we do life in, the restaurants, the coffee shops, the gyms. We really do enjoy living in the Metro East area here. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm in a band, and there's so we're always talking about
what's the band called?
Feel. Check it out. EP, a band called Feel, dropped August 3rd. You should check it out. Pretty good. Anyways, so we're always talking about where we can play. We want to go play in Kansas City. We want to go play in Chicago, Milwaukee, Indianapolis, Nashville. We're about 5 hours away-ish from all of those cities.
Yeah.
This is a great place to live, right in the heart of the country, and
the Midwest, baby. I love it. I love the Midwest. I do. It's such a great spot. You get away and you go travel all these big cities, but there's nothing like coming home to the Midwest.
Keeps you centered, man.
And,
literally.
And the people. I love the people. The people are great.
They are the best. My grandfather used to tell my mom, don't underestimate the value of a Midwestern upbringing. And that, for some reason,
oh,
yeah.
Hey,
he was a smart man, and
that's a great.
Absolutely. So this also ties into why we're doing this podcast here, is because we are here and we are located here and we're doing life and we're doing business, and we want to make our community as great as it possibly can be. And so our niche, our heart is kind of set on entrepreneurship and business and ways that we can collaborate, help you guys along the way, and ultimately just raise the level of business that's happening here in the Midwest, in the Metro East.
We don't know everything. We're not coming to you like we know everything. We're growing. We're two young punk kids.
You better
right?
believe it.
No, we're grown men.
With my long hippie hair.
We're grown.
Don't worry,
now.
Mom. It's getting cut this week. I promise.
We're grown men now, but no, that's what this is about.
That is what it's about.
We want to grow. We want to learn with you. We always appreciate your feedback. People that stop and, hey, I listen to your podcast. I really like this part. I really like that part. That to me is so rewarding.
Absolutely.
It's not just the hour and a half that I get to spend with you. It's
the continuation of
right.
it. I had someone come up to me last week and said, "Hey, I loved your podcast. I just subscribed," and it just meant so much to me that I don't have much. Excuse me. There are times where I don't feel I have much value to add, but it is nice and it's reassuring to hear someone say, hey, what you did was valuable and I liked it so much that I want to continue to be a part of it. And that's the hope.
Absolutely, yeah.
So with that being said, please jump in. We want a little bit more feedback from you guys.
Please, yeah.
To make this worth your time. We do feel we have some insights being young and sort of go-getters in our own industry. Gavin I'll let you tell him who you are.
I'm an agent. I'm an independent agent with Goosehead Insurance. So I'm an insurance broker. I shop out, the insurance policies through a span of 12, 15 different companies. So I am officially in September, I guess. Well, right now, last year, I was unemployed. And September, I started this journey. My first live date was October. So I'm coming up on a year now. And what a wild ride it's been. I tell you, jumping into this endeavor was something that was extremely out of character for me. I'm a cautious person, and it's been extremely rewarding and defeating at times. So I've learned a lot about myself in the past year.
Absolutely.
So
I 100% understand the ups and downs.
And you're going into it.
I've been employed with my company, CDInspect. We're a home inspection company for a year. I've only had my license for 6 months of that year. But, you've kind of gotten to see both sides of it. I was fortunate enough to sit underneath my boss, who's a rather successful home inspector in terms of
shout out to Mark.
Yeah, Mark Warren, in terms of the volume that he does. And so I got to sit underneath him for 6 months every single day and just see how he interacted with clients, with real estate agents, and just what it really means to take care of people. I know that that's kind of a buzz phrase that gets thrown out there.
No, but I mean, there's nothing more important than that.
And it was so cool to see how that actually comes to fruition.
Right.
And so then, 6 months, after that, being kind of kicked out on my own, once I was licensed, it's like, it took him a while to get to where he's at. It wasn't over. He quotes all the time, I became an overnight success in 10 years. And it took him that long to grow his book of business, to develop these, trusting relationships with his real estate agents that they were comfortable referring him on a consistent basis. And that's what we're after.
Absolutely.
Is trust. And so what we want to spend this episode on it is kind of talking about a few things that it's kind of where Gavin and I are at in life, and I know a lot of you will be as well, whether you're new into the business or you're stepping into new territory, or maybe this is sort of the end of your first or second year and you're kind of reflecting back on what was and now looking forward to what is to come.
Right.
And that's where we're at. But fear. I want to talk about fear for a moment. Fear is such a powerful, and it can be used in a good way.
Absolutely.
It's such a powerful thing in business. Gavin, what was the biggest fear that you experienced? I mean, because you were with State Farm, and you for a few years, correct?
Right.
And then you decided, I want to do this. I want to go out on my own. What was that? How were you able to overcome that fear of stepping out and doing your own thing?
So I was in a great situation. I worked with great people. My boss was one of my really good friends. He still is one of my good friends, and a mentor of sorts. And my goal was always to be an agent. I mean, I always had that mindset that I wanted to be in charge. I wanted it to be my own, something that I could be proud to call my own business, kind of deal. And I had to make a decision. Goosehead approached me, and I was on the cusp of being a State Farm agent, and then Goosehead approached me with this business model that fit my personality, I felt like. But the biggest fear was I started from scratch. A lot of insurance agents don't necessarily do that anymore, just because there's an abundance of agencies that you can jump into with a book of business already. So you're walking into a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
I was not. I did not walk into a paycheck.
Bummer.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking. I was getting paid.
And side note too, you had just bought a house too, right?
Yeah, so so all those people that said I had commitment issues, you're wrong.
Jumping in with both feet.
Yeah, so I bought a house in July and I started a business in September. I don't know that I would recommend that to most people.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more stress than what I anticipated, but I love my house. I love this business. Watching it grow over the past year has been extremely rewarding. And it's also been, a punch to the gut a lot of times too. You and I talk a lot about this is where we want to be, this is where we want to be. And the fact of the matter is business doesn't grow overnight. Like Mark's, I mean, this, I always call insurance just a get rich slow scheme. Right, it's not something you're going to walk into and just make a ton of money. Right, you have to start from the ground up and build it up, and hopefully one day you get to the point where you have this solid book of business that you're proud of and you're taking care of. I always want to grow and help people, and that's why I'm in insurance. I didn't necessarily seek out insurance. That was right. I didn't. At 5 years old, I went, I want to be an insurance agent. But, I got into the business and I really like it. I enjoy the process of explaining and educating people. And, the past year, you hit the trials and tribulations of what customers want because it's just me, right? I don't have anybody else to blame. It's all on me.
Sure. So
the fear of failure is a driving force for me, circling back to your fear question. The fear of failure. I love to tell the story of my accountant. I went in to see him last spring and we had a meeting at 7:30 and I was talking to him, how's business going, and he made a side comment. Oh, you wouldn't believe me if you asked me what time I left the office yesterday. And I said, well, what time did you leave? And he said 4:30. I said 4:30 at night, and he goes, no, 4:30 in the morning. I said, well, you don't have a cup of coffee on your desk. You don't have a soda. You don't have anything. You're telling me you got 2 hours of sleep. Maybe. I mean, if you left at 4:30, back up. I said, how are you running right now? How are you functioning? He said, the fear of failure. Damn. He said, the fear of failure gets me out of bed every single day. And that has really resonated with me because it's a true driving force. It can be something negative that looms over you and does put you in a corner at times. But a lot of times, once you're backed into that corner, that's when you find out who you are.
Yeah. The way I kind of internalize what you're saying, I was thinking about this as you were speaking, is the fear of failure. I also frame it as the fear of things not being the way I know that I want them to be. What I mean by that is like, you and I are both pretty big picture thinkers and to a fault sometime almost. But, I think about the life that I want for my wife, the life that I want for me and my family, my friends, the type of vacations that I want to take, the type of the amount of people that I want to impact, and so the fear of not obtaining that is terrifying because I know I can get a sense of how great it's going to be, and for me that's what gets me up in the morning. Similar to your accountant is all right. These things that I know that are coming, that are on the horizon, that I know are within my grasp. If you don't get up and make it happen, they're not going to come.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to get yourself out of bed in the morning, right? We don't necessarily have anybody that we're clocking into.
Right.
We do have the luxury of if we want to start at 10 one morning we can, but then we also know that that's going to lead us into 8, 9 o'clock at night. We don't have the set 8 to 5, and we talked about that in the last podcast. But like you said, with as far as big picture things, whenever we look at the big picture, that fear of not obtaining that right now can at times be overwhelming and an extreme. That's been an obstacle for me, is to try and break it down in shorter term, smaller picture deals.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. There's a side note on that. There's a book that I want you guys to read or to at least look into, and it's something that We're implementing on the Mastermind Metro East stuff. It's called the 12-week year, and it's all about restructuring how you view your goals. It's really good. Contact me for more information on that, because I'm really excited about coaching on that and being a big cheerleader for that. Back to the podcast.
So I guess now let's move on to you, because you're now moving into, I mean, you're 6 months in. Now you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you thinking? How you feeling?
Good. Hopeful. You get worried that you're not going to see the sort of fruits of your labor, right? You know, I've done a very good job of going out and networking and helping people and putting people first, and I know I've done a good job of that, because I
haven't met many people in the Metro East that don't know Nick Bifano.
But it's not so much even more about that. It's like I've tried to very much be a giver.
Sure.
And so now it's actually sort of an interesting dynamic, because now that I'm stepping out into full commission, I have to leverage that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so the real talking point here that I need help on, honestly, and if you guys have anything that you can share with me, I'd love to hear it, is now I have to leverage those in an authentic way. Mm-hmm. I've poured into it to people.
Right.
I've invested in people's bank accounts in one sense, right? Give. And my boss Mark has been gracious enough to support me, you know, leaving me on salary to some degree up to this point.
Right.
And so now it's time to leverage those a little bit. And I'm scared of that, because I don't want to be the guy that walks in and says, "Hey, I'm Nick Bifano, let me have your business." You know, I don't want to be that guy. And nobody likes that guy.
Right.
Or gal.
and you, I think the biggest issue with that is, as long as you stay true to yourself and stay genuine,
mm-hmm.
that's the biggest. That's what people want to see. That's who people want to work with. You know, I've found that people, you have a conversation with someone and people are always willing to help out. A lot of people are willing to help out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's a matter of, you know, you have to keep them to their word as well as keep you to your own word. You know, it's not, you want to be there for them, but the second that you let them down, that's not, you know, they technically don't have any reason to use you again.
Right.
So you have to have that, that drive to continue to keep the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, in a business matter, because once they give you one opportunity or two opportunities, that's whenever you have to prove yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, and the time as you continue to prove yourself time and time again, you know, you build this foundation that they can rely on you, and I think that's whenever you really start to turn over those things, and people will, you know, continue to use you because you have been giving. You know, you give and give and give, and you talk about that in Mastermind. Don't walk up to someone and say, "Hey, I'm Gavin, Petrea, here's my business card," mm-hmm. and then expect them to.
I guess we're supposed to do business now.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I truly believe that you're going to do great in that, but it is an extremely scary thing, and it's difficult.
So I had lunch with a good friend of mine. Her name's Tina Denman. She's a real estate agent.
Love Tina.
I do. She's the best. Just a great mentor of mine as well. And so I was having this conversation with her because, you know, she knows where I'm at. I talk pretty openly with her, and I said, but Tina, I'm struggling with, now I'm going to have to start leveraging and ask for business. She said, Nick, just ask. Mm-hmm. She said, people almost have that expectation that you're going to ask.
Right.
And if you've started all these relationships with an open hand, it's okay now to ask, because people know you, they know who you are, they know what you're about, and they know that you're not gonna screw it up. I mean, maybe, you know, sometimes we do, but right. You're not gonna.
And you're the type of guy that would fix it.
Yeah, or you're not looking just to reach into people's pocketbooks. You know, you're coming from a place where, hey, I got to make a living now. I can help you. I have a service that can help you.
Right. Well, and you've been doing this for 6 months. Mm-hmm. You've been giving for 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that and put that in perspective, 6 months you've gone without asking for a single referral.
Right.
You know, I mean, you're talking about just now having that conversation when you could have been having that, you know, the past 3-4 months. You know,
Sure.
I think that at this point people would jump at the chance to use you if that's what you're interested in. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that you'll be just fine in that.
It's something that we'll have to circle back around to because
sure.
A very good friend of mine who's an insurance agent actually in St. Louis, he's very...
Do you have other friends that are insurance agents?
I do. Sorry, buddy. Don't worry, they're not my favorite. You are. He said to me, you know, he's been doing this for a long time, and he said to me, Nick, I want you to keep track, like mentally keep track of when it's okay to ask for business.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm going to have to go back and have that conversation with him and say, well, 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months is about the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming, and we're gonna work through it and navigate it and figure out the best way to do it. I don't know about you, but a lot of times there's really no right answer to anything.
No.
There's a ton of gray area. It really just depends, because there are some, like, for example, if you are looking into personality profiles, and I know that's a whole rabbit hole that you can really get deep into. I know some people subscribe to it at a higher level than others, but a person like myself, who I'm a very high D is my personality, dominant personality, I guess. I want people to tell me exactly what they want right away. So if someone came up to me, and I don't want them to be like, hey, here's my business, but if they, you know, maybe the first or second time said, hey, I'm trying to grow my business, I think you're a person that I want to do business with, what do you think? I would very much appreciate that. And I would tell them either straight up, like, sorry, I got a guy for that, or, okay,
yeah,
let's see what we can do for each other.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think, and you're going to find those D personalities that you can have that conversation, be very straightforward with, and a lot. Let's be honest, all of business is relating to people.
Right.
You have to read people, and the people that are really good at business, I think, in my opinion, there are two types of people. There are people that read and are chameleons, essentially, and can kind of form into what, you know, the conversation that they need to have. Or there are people that are very direct. That, hey, this is what I want. This is I'm all, and that are strictly about business. And, you know, relationships aren't as important to them, and hurting people's feelings isn't, because at the end of the day, it's about the almighty dollar. Right. So there are people that are about the dollar and about the relationships, and then that's my, you know, you find what kind of salesman you are. And I do believe that there's a blend of both of them, but. My personality, I like to build relationships. Your personality, you like to build relationships. Yeah. But at some point, you do have to mesh into that salesman, that drive, that Wolf of Wall Street type of salesman, right?
Yeah, and that is I've seen individuals who, and let me preface this by saying this is not a bad thing. It's just their way of doing it.
Right. No, there's no right or wrong.
Right.
As long as you're making money, I mean that's.
Yeah. Who are extremely aggressive. That are that person that walk into a networking event or some sort of situation where they're with possible referral partners, and they've got one thing on their mind. They don't care about necessarily forming a relationship first. They're about, this is what I want. This is how I'm going to get it. And at first, when I saw that, I was kind of like, ugh. You know, from a distance, I was kind of like,
it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't like it. Just being honest, I did not like it. I thought that it was, I didn't. There was just, it wasn't real. It was just like, okay, come on, man, or woman. But I've realized 6 months into this, there's something I can learn from that. I will not do that because that's not me. But having a little bit of that in you, a little bit of that kind of tucked away, so that when you need to take a little bit, it's there. I'm always leading with the giving hand. I'm always coming from contribution. Right. But that is an area where I do have to develop a little bit the ask, the aggressive. There's a great analogy, and I use this all the time. My wife, just to clue you guys in, she is very much a rule follower. If it is a rule, It needs to be followed. It's there for a reason. I am not. I am very much the opposite of a rule follower. Here's my analogy. It's like, okay, you're at Busch Stadium, right? Mm-hmm. And you've just parked your car and you're walking down the street and you come to a crosswalk, right? And the light is green for the traffic to go, that's crossing you.
Right.
But you see a break in the cars. And there's 20 people standing there. 18 of those people are going to wait for the little red hand to switch over to the walk sign. Me?
No.
I'm getting across the street. You know why? Because there's my opportunity. Did I break the rule? Yeah. Are there consequences for breaking that rule? Potentially, yes. I'm where I want to be, though.
Right. And all those people are still...
They're still stuck on the other side. Well, I'm moving and I'm getting into the stadium. I'm not a jerk about it or whatnot, but running... This is Mark always says, running with the masses and the asses will not get you to where you want to be.
Yeah, that's
running the normal way of life, the average way of life will keep you at this level. Mm-hmm. It's the people who push the envelope, who do things out of the box, who cross the street when they're not supposed to. Those are the ones that
who are okay being comfortable.
Yeah,
or uncomfortable. Sorry, that's one of my biggest obstacles. Is getting out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Nobody likes to do it.
Absolutely.
I started out my business just walking in cold offices. Oof. I mean, that's something. Yeah. Hey, I'm Gavin.
I'm more than just a pretty face.
What can I do for you? But at the same time, I want your business. Mm-hmm. That's you're walking in cold. For me, walking in cold, trying to build a relationship on someone else's time that wasn't expecting you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things that I've learned.
Yeah.
Over this first year is that I would rather have a warm
introduction.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm okay with a cold introduction, but as far as interrupting someone's time unexpectedly, that's not my personality, mm-hmm. and it's not something that I would appreciate as a businessman.
Yeah.
So it's not something that I choose to do. Some people it works for. There are a lot of people in my company that do it, and it works great for them, and they're extremely successful. And I'm probably going about it a different way, and it may take a little bit longer.
It's the long game. Sure.
Yeah, I'm absolutely playing the long game, and it's taxing.
There's a concept in the 7 Levels of Communication book, which you all should definitely grab and read.
I finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a concept called the Triangle of Trust, and what the Triangle of Trust is Gavin and I have done business together, have formed a relationship, and have created a just good rapport with each other. Now I have someone that Gavin needs to meet that I think will help move him a step in the right direction, that I give that warm introduction to that person, mm-hmm. so that whenever that meeting happens, whenever Gavin and this other person meet, they know that they have an established connection because I have made that happen for them. It's a powerful thing, and it makes you, we were talking about giving. Mm-hmm. Whenever you do things like that, you're pouring into other people's emotional bank account.
For sure.
Your people understand that you're looking to help, and you're looking to,
and it gives you credibility, or could
yeah,
take away your credibility. So whenever you refer people out, you want to work with people that are like-minded, mm-hmm. And that's to me, whenever I refer someone, it's going to be, I believe in them, I can put my reputation on it, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Because I have been burned with that in the past. That you friends come and ask you for things, and you want to do your best to help them out, and then something falls through, and then it comes back on you, mm-hmm. essentially, right? So that is the great thing about this environment that we're creating, mm-hmm. is we're creating a group of people that are reliable, that have good reputations, they're hardworking, and we can stick our credibility on it.
Right. And that is kind of one of the purposes of Mastermind, September 19th, check it out. Quick plug.
A lot of plugs.
A lot of plugs today.
today.
September 19th, Mastermind. We're going to be at Crystal Gardens this time. You should check it out. But the idea of that is I'm going to raise the level of business that everybody's doing. Of course, I'm going to have the people that are I'm closest to and are my referral partners. But how awesome would it be to live in a community where, if need be, I feel comfortable referring literally anybody.
Right.
Because I know that they've bought in. I know that they've invested the time, that they're growing personally. I mean, there's going to be the bad apples in every bunch, but slowly that gradual progression of making everybody better.
Absolutely. It also goes into reading people. You get a pretty good idea in that situation, in such an environment that is so giving. That people are, hey, you know what? My name's Gavin. My name's Nick, and this is what I do. What can I do for you? Kind of thing. Who are you looking to meet? I've met so many people that, oh, who are you looking to meet? Well, let me get you here. Let me get you there. You know, So it's really fun. The first time I ever walked into Mastermind, I was extremely uncomfortable. Didn't know, you know, and now I walk in. It's, hey, what's going on? Hey, you know, good to see you. Yeah, it's so great to see everybody. Like, I mean, it's not just handshakes. It's hugs and you know, welcome your house. That's a family. We're not talking about business as much. So it's such a rewarding environment to be in.
Absolutely. All right, so transitioning here. We are both relatively wrapping up our first year and stepping into year 2.
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit, and hopefully there's some value in this as well for you guys. Things that we've tried, things that we haven't done yet, things that we aren't going to do next year.
Yeah.
There's probably some more questions in there, but that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So I'll start off. One of the things so Gavin and I are both millennials, whatever the heck that means to you.
I like it.
But our generation very much is, we communicate digitally. We're fast paced. We understand. We understand the importance of things to look good. Like it's just a different way of thinking, and it just is what it is. And there's stereotypes and things that go along with it. But putting all that aside for a minute, excuse me. When I first started at CDInspect, I was thinking, okay, how can I put my personal touch on this company? And what I was saying, all right, we're going to have a killer website. Our Facebook page is going to be awesome. We're going to grow our Twitter and Instagram followers. We're going to put out content that people are they're going to know we're the inspection company. Well, I tried that for about 2 months. And it failed. And it flopped miserably on its face.
Yeah.
Luckily, Mark was gracious enough to be like, hey, I'll try anything. If you think this is going to work, you can put some time into it. But here's what I know will work.
Yeah.
And at first I was kind of like, okay, whatever. That works for you, but I don't think it's going to work for me. Always listen to people who are older than you. They're so much smarter.
Bottom line. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is how I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to Facebook ads and Google AdWords and all this stuff. And those things are important. Please don't. If that works for your business, great. Again, this is not a one-size-fits all thing. But Mark says, Nick, you know what the things that's going to grow your business? You need to get face-to-face with real estate agents. You need to take them out to lunch and get to know them. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, just for our company personally, we don't spend a dime on advertising.
No.
Not a dime. I have a budget where I take people out to lunch. So if you want a free lunch, let me know. I have a budget where I take people out to lunch and get to know them. And that has been the key driving factor to our business.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And you know, I, again, only being licensed for 6 months, I've grown a decent business for myself.
For sure.
Got to keep going.
Absolutely.
That's what I've done that has worked.
What I've done that has worked, I would say efficiency. Whenever I'm contacted with a referral, I want to be as efficient as possible in a timely manner.
Sure.
Right? So if someone contacts me and says, hey, look, we're closed on this house, loan officer contacts me and says, hey, I need this like by the end of the day. My goal is to get it to them within the hour.
Mm.
And I thought our camera shut off for a minute.
No.
I want to make sure that I drop everything that I do, because I sell. That's what I do. I sell full time, so there's no reason to not be on top of things.
Right.
So I found that whenever I'm contacted, I drop everything that I have, and I get back with them, because that's going to be valuable to them, and that if they need something, they can count on me
Sure.
to be there for them. So that's something, and then I follow up with them. I take care of them. I take them out to lunch and take them. I love candy, so I give people candy. That's my thing. So, I take one off as pineapples. That's, hey, people like different things.
Yeah.
And you've got to be unique. And so I would say that I do my best to go above and beyond for the people that are willing to help me out. Mm-hmm. That has worked for me.
Well, good. That leads us into the next question. What hasn't worked? And I already kind of answered my question with the previous question.
Social media.
Social media, again, not saying it won't work for you. Just it can't be your primary thing. Mm-hmm. At least that's what I have found. Prove me wrong. I would love to talk to you about it. But here's another thing that has not worked. There is value in cold calling.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't worked for me.
No.
I, like you, have to be in contact with real estate agents. You're more so loan officers or consumers. Mm-hmm. So if I walk into a real estate office, again, because we live such, on a daily basis, unstructured lives,
mm-hmm.
We may start a day at noon, right? It's just not wise for me to walk into a real estate office with zero connections and just say, hey, can I walk around and pass business cards out? What you're doing is you're doing a little 30-second pitch and trying to. Now there is value in proximity.
Absolutely.
If people on a regular basis are seeing your face, eventually that will lead to, hey, haven't I seen you? But walking in cold to places has not worked for me.
And I said it earlier. It hasn't worked for me either. That to me is not as genuine as. And it could be as simple as shooting an email before, hey, can I stop by?
Sure.
That's, it's that simple.
Right.
Everybody checks email nowadays. And plus you also run into, realtors aren't always in the office. Loan officers aren't always in the office. People like us that work in this industry, in the property market, I guess, or something like that. We're always out moving.
Yeah.
You're always out doing something.
Eventually you got to get out there and do your job. Yeah.
So you can't rely on people being in the office and, and you can stop by and then you'll never catch them.
Yeah.
You're constantly leaving business cards. But what does that do for you? And plus those people, like I said before, you're interrupting their day. Mm-hmm. So you have to read, it's a very quick read on, okay, how long do I stay? Do I bother them? Am I, because there are people that go in and they talk too much whenever clearly everybody else is busy.
Right.
So cold calling has not worked for me to an extent. I do have one that did work out. Mm-hmm. And they're great. I love them.
That's a good point too. It's not that cold calling and social media, things like that don't work. Mm-hmm. It's just it can't be your. So like if
success rate is
correct.
Is smaller.
They talk about the 80-20 principle. Spend 80% of your time. I don't know exactly how it works out, but anyway, spend the most amount of your time doing the stuff that makes you the most money.
Right.
That's how your time is best spent. Which leads to our sorry. Doing the social media and the cold calling thing, those would be great for me to do if I have nothing to do.
Right. Yeah, social media hasn't. I'm trying to be more present, mm-hmm. but I want to be more present in a visibility way.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Like if I've got an hour to kill, maybe I just finished up an inspection and I've finished the report already and I'm driving to the next place. And I've got an hour to kill. That might be a good time to get on the phone, call some folks, to stop by a real estate office or to, maybe plan out some social media posts. Yeah. But again, if I've got crunch time, time where I've set aside to build relationships, it would be a shame to sit there and waste those hours by, oh, look how cool my social, my post. It's not worth it.
Right.
It's not worth it. Next question. What is something that you're going to try this year that you haven't done yet that you think will yield positive results?
I'm going to try and expand into Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
That has been a market that I have yet to tap into. Obviously, I don't know as many people in Missouri, so that's going to be somewhat of an undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
So, in reference to that, what I'm going to try and grow and be more present in both Illinois and Missouri and take on more as far as business goes.
So using the same principles that built your business here in Illinois.
Yeah. So shooting a quick email or trying using leveraging connections. This next year I'm gonna try and leverage my connections more efficiently.
Boom.
That's what I'm gonna try and do.
That's good. You guys should make sure you write down what Gavin just said. Leverage your connections more effectively.
Efficiently. And effectively.
And both. One of those E words. That's good. That's really good. Me. What am I gonna do this year? That's gonna be. I'm going to be more intentional. Okay, so you have to find this balance, right? So at any given point in time, a home inspector or whatever, you could be dealing with 100 people who are your referral partners or who have in the past or are currently referring you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even more, depending on what your business is. You have to strike a balance between obtaining and maintaining.
Say it again.
Find the balance between obtaining and maintaining. You're always on the hunt for new referral partners, new opportunities, new relationships, new things to cultivate. But you can't forget about the people who are already feeding you business and who are your sort of lifeblood and who are your friends. So I'm going to be very, very much more intentional with writing thank you notes, more intentional with gift giving and just letting people know that I appreciate them. Even if it's a phone call, even if it's sort of off the cuff, people just want to know that they are valued and appreciated.
Absolutely.
Balancing that with going out and finding more and adding those into your sphere. It's a very difficult thing to do.
I love that though. That's I mean, I've gotten a few thank you notes, but there's a fine line in thank you notes.
Mm-hmm.
Something that don't write them just to write them, because you've gotten those.
Yeah.
Right. Just like I know that somebody's just sitting there cranking out the same thing.
Yeah.
On the thank you note. And thanks for coming, thanks for, look forward, here's our business. And I know that takes a lot of effort, but sending a genuine thank you note that refers back to the conversation that you had.
Find one specific thing and mention that, yeah.
I got one.
It's also in the 7 Levels book.
Yeah. So, 7 Levels, read it. It's good.
You gotta get on that.
It's good.
Yeah.
So this next year should be a big one for us. You learn a lot year one, and the thing that we always talk about, we always want to be there now.
Mm-hmm.
But then whenever you talk about somebody else who's been in business, they've only been in business for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Our expectations of other people is different than our own expectations.
Sure.
So, one thing that I've really learned, just a quick touch point on this, I've learned that you have to be organized as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Which is so difficult. I'm so bad at it. I was always the guy in school that had
flying by the seat of the pants.
This binder full of just.
I'll find it. Hold on.
Only on the classes that I had to have a neat notebook. If
only you guys could see my office back there, you would know what I got going on.
You have to stay organized, because that is so key in just keeping your headspace is already all over the place, and so organization is extremely important. So
I think another thing to put in perspective too, especially when you've hit milestones, right? So year 2 is quickly approaching on us. Probably by the time the next podcast comes out, we will be fully into our 2nd year in business. The Mark always tells me, my boss always tells me, stay humble and hungry. Stay humble in the fact of, look at what you've done. You know, in terms of success, in the eyes of a lot of people, we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're both young, driven. We have homes. You know, like as far as things that we've obtained, we're very successful. We're I shouldn't say we're very successful. I said we're very fortunate and blessed. You know, what we've been able to accomplish has been, you know, I live in a house. I'm 24. Like, what the heck? You know, like that's something to be proud of. But the hungry part is the part where you also need to really put some stake into, because I know what's out there. You know, I've seen people accomplish these things, and I want my slice of that. Humble and hungry. Again, life is, the older I get and the more I venture into different avenues of business and life, it's all about balance.
Got it. And hey, Matthew McConaughey, you gotta find that balance.
Gotta find that balance. All right. Oh, goodness. Well, guys, this is a great place to wrap up. I want to thank you so much for listening to us ramble on here for a little bit. But most importantly, I want you to implement. I don't want you to listen to this and then just think it's okay to go about your day. Of course it is. However, if there's one thing that we said today, if there's one thing that you want to talk more about, or one thing that really struck a chord with you, do something about it. Do something about it. The best day to implement is today. You know, got to wait for your next quarterly meeting or a Monday or whatever. The only way it's going to get done is if you make it happen. And Gavin and I were literally just talking about this before we started the podcast. That you are the only motivator. Mm-hmm. You are the only one who can make yourself do the work. So implement today, now.
Face those problems head on.
Yeah.
Don't shy away. You get backed in the corner. Hey, dig in and go after it.
Absolutely.
Because that's the only way things are going to get done. So.
And we're here to help too. Yeah. Everyone in this community. Yeah.
Please reach out. That's what this is about. We want to touch as many people as possible. We want to help as many people as possible. Look, our minds are all over the place. It's pretty obvious. We talk about all sorts of things. You know, we have one topic that we try and base around, but our minds, the entrepreneurial mindset, I think, is just this comes up and then this comes up, and we want to share it all with you right now. And we're going to try and pace ourselves. But please be involved. That's what we want. Leave a comment, shoot us a message, whatever. If you want help, if you want to meet with us, we'll take you to lunch. That's what we want. So face a problem head on. If you can't face it head on, you want help, we're here.
Better believe it. Mastermind Network podcast number 3. That is a wrap. We'll see you next time.
We out.